Justin, I guess this time last year you were getting to know your players and settling into the club. How are things changing the second time around as you start this pre-season?
Yeah, well, it's probably less daunting and it's a little bit more familiar for me and the players. We've obviously got some new faces around the footy department and new faces in the playing group, but largely we're consistent from last year and everyone sort of knows each other a little bit better and knows what to expect. So I feel like we can hit the ground running a little bit more this year.
What's your focus at the moment with the group?
To stay in the moment. It literally is to get the most out of each session. I think we had played a lot of good footy last year, but we weren't consistent enough or good enough against a better team. So to get better, we need to get the most out of everything we do, and that's been the focus with the players. Not only for them to individually get the most out of each other, but to help each other get through and help their teammate get the best out of themselves as well. So yeah, it's really about staying in the moment.
You came in with a big focus, Justin, on skills. What sort of balance are you trying to get at the moment with skills and fitness work?
No, we're trying to get all our fitness work in our skills program as much as we can. It's not always possible to get it all, but we get the most out of our skills. We've got to ramp up our skill development this year again. We can't do the same as last year and hope for more improvement. So the coaches have been hard at work trying to plan new training drills and trying to challenge our players in different ways. And so far so good.
How did they return, do you think, fitness-wise?
I think across the whole playing group, it's been really pleasing to see how they've presented themselves. All the players have hit the ground running. Only the coach did a little minor hammy the other day, but apart from that, everyone's got through training really well, and I couldn't be happier at the moment, to be honest.
Has there been a standout for you?
Not really. I mean, Luke Ryan and Liam Henry have returned in great nick and leading the running. But I think all of them have not only returned in good nick, but improved on where they've left the footy club last year. So as a coach, I'm really pleased.
How much of a sign of that? The best and fairest is coming back in good shape.
It's an expectation, really. It's an expectation of all our players to look at where they were last year and try and get better. And it doesn't matter whether you're a best and fairest winner or you missed all last year with an injury. We expect you to work your backside off and become a better player. So Luke's, he's made massive inroads on the field last year, but I feel like his biggest improvement came off the field, and his attention to detail, his ability to prepare himself week in, week out was fantastic. And from what I've seen so far this year, that hasn't changed.
The one face everyone's been excited to see out there is Joel Hamling. How's he feeling at the moment, being back out, kicking footy and actually doing some footy rather than being in the rehab group?
Yeah, it's fantastic to see him out there. It's fantastic to see him with a smile on his face and back out there with his mates, doing what he loves best. And so far so good. He hasn't missed a session. It hasn't pulled up sore. Hasn't been restricted at all, so it's really pleasing for him and the team, because he's obviously a vital player for us.
I know it's a long way to go, but realistically, do you see him being able to be ready to play football as soon as the season starts next year?
Well, I think with Joel we just got to have a short-term focus with him, make sure we keep progressing him with his running and his footy work on a week-to-week basis, and round one will look after itself if he ticks all the boxes in the lead up. So we'll just keep it week by week, and we're really pleased with his progress and really pleased where he's at. But we'll just look short term with him at the moment.
How is your hammy? How bad is it?
Well, I've never done a soft tissue injury, but I can still feel it. So the physios are saying that's not a great sign. So I might have to start acting my age and just watch on from the sidelines for a while.
You're happy with what you added through the draft, and what have you been able to gather from them so far?
Well, not a lot, to be honest, so far on the track. Off the track, they just seem like a really eager, keen bunch of young men. They're of high character, and they fill some list needs for us. We've brought in some real speed on the outside, some run, and had Chappie with our first pick. Has just got some real AFL traits that'll help the team get better in the future. So really pleased. We'll see them out there. We'll see 3 of them out there today. Their first taste of AFL training, and I think you'll like what you see.
Do you think we'll see much of them through the year at AFL level?
Well, it really is, too early to tell. I hope so. But they're going to have to earn their spot in the side. They're going to have to impress their teammates, impress the coaches with the way they go about their training. We just won't put too much expectations on them. We'll just allow them to get the most out of each training session, and I'm sure at some stage, a few of them will put their hand up for senior selection.
Just with that first pick, obviously there was maybe some surprise that you went down the path of the heath being a defender, given you guys have got, hopefully this year at least, some really good stocks in that department. Did you ever look at a different area for that first pick, or was it best first and best?
I think most clubs have a philosophy of going with the next best rated talent at their first pick, and he was clearly that for us. He's got some traits that make him a really good third tall defender. He dominated the Colts last year, but we feel he can play that position at AFL. But we also feel he's flexible and enough with his tank that he could play on the wing or even as an inside mid. So we're not going to pigeonhole him as a half-back or a tall back at this stage. I think his attributes will allow him to be flexible at AFL level.
So train as a defender at this point?
Yeah. I think my philosophy is to settle the young players into where they are most comfortable, and what position allows them to play to their strengths early on. And clearly, with his attributes of reading the play and intercept marking, that's at half-back at this stage.
Are there other players, Justin, that you're looking at moving from your back somewhere else, given the depth that you've got there now?
Not really. There's a few players that might have to be flexible and add second roles to their team. And I mean, looking on paper, we've got a lot of backs on our list, but last year at stages we were short on backs as well. So we need depth in all areas of the ground, and we feel like we've got that. We don't feel like we've got too many backs.
Just, I guess, a couple of other guys we've seen in the rehab stage, I guess, Darcy Tucker, Taylor Demand, Sam Sturt's probably the main one in the room. But still, how are they tracking, and how soon, I guess, until they sort of return to some sort of full training?
Dumand's close to a return off the back of that wrist injury. So he'll be joining the group after Christmas once he gets some strength back in that wrist. Sturdy had a minor hiccup, but he'll be back running after Christmas. And Darcy Tucker's progressing really well in his rehab. He hasn't missed a training session across the whole break. He's been really diligent, and we look to sort of seeing him probably at the end of Jan join the main group. So he's progressing really well.
How is Nat Fyfe doing? I think there'd been one report of a possible elbow flare-up.
It was nothing. I think he had an infection or something along those types where it just blew up for a day or two. From what I hear, he's doing a really solid training block down in Margaret River somewhere, and he'll be right to go come pre-season.
Is that a training block on a surfboard? That's it.
I'm not sure what he's getting up to be honest. Knowing him, he'll be trying a lot of different things and pushing himself really hard and looking to return in the best possible shape so he can continue what's been a stellar career, but also continue to set a great example for our young players.